What's up, everybody? Brett Okamoto from ESPN alongside Gilbert, Melendez, and Carlos Legaspi. We are here in Las Vegas. It is no longer 1 billion degrees, so we are outside of T-Mobile Arena for Noche UFC. It is Mexico against the world this week. That is the theme of the card, and so let's start off with that main event. Gil, I want to start with you, actually. Valentina Shevchenko. The question for me here, and the question I would like you to address is, she hasn't really necessarily looked like Valentina Shevchenko in her last 2 fights. She had a very close fight against Talia Santos, and then, of course, obviously she lost the last one. What are you seeing? Are they figuring her out, or is there a problem here?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. I think they're figuring her out. They're grabbing a lot of data, right? Valentina is an assassin from the outside, just picking people off. So what people need to do is, listen, I got to bite down the mouthpiece, and I need to close the distance on her. It's better than staying on the outside and getting sniped, right? So now they're closing the distance, but as they close the distance to avoid the striking, Valentina does a fantastic job either double leg taking you down or body lock taking you down and controlling you on top. And with Alexa Grasso, we saw that as Alexa started getting some success in the striking department, she took her to the ground. Jessica Andrade was another one, put the pressure on her, took her down immediately, crucifixed her, and did tons of damage out there. So I think for Valentina, she believes she was winning that fight, and all she has to do is continue to do that. But I think we see that Valentina does not thrive in the phone booth the same way as Alexa Grasso does.
Oh, so is that the key to this fight, you think? That to stay out of the phone booth? Is that really what sort of dictates everything?
Yes, of course. Stay out of the phone booth, as well as when you are in the phone booth, get the takedown, right? And that's what she did well. So for Alexa, it's get in that phone booth, but neutralize the takedown. Get those frames or sprawl very well.
And Alexa was very, very confident going into the first one, even more confident going into this one, obviously because of the way the last one went. Carlos, you wrote a story about her on ESPN Deportes. Talk to us about that story and just sort of the mindset of Grasso coming into this
we
rematch.
just had Tatiana Suarez here. She defeated Alexa in Chile in 2017, and that was like the worst defeat in Alexa's career. She got submitted at first round. It was a rear naked choke, and the shame was so much for her. She said, "I'll never ever in my life get submitted again," and actually want to submit my my opponents. And she then beat Joanne Wood now, sorry, and then she won the belt via rear naked choke. That's some of the change that she made. For her whole career, people have been telling her, you need to leave Guadalajara, you need to leave Mexico, you need to go to the US, you need to find a top-level gym where you can develop your ground game, you can learn how to wrestle, you can improve your jiu-jitsu. But she stick to her family, she stuck to with her family to Guadalajara. She loves living here, training there, and she started bringing like teammates like Diego Lopez and Alessandro Costa, 2 Brazilian guys that are now in the UFC. Diego Lopez has been making strides like really early in his career in the UFC, and they've been helping her a lot with her wrestling, with her jiu-jitsu. Actually, Diego made the strategy that helped submit Valentina with that rear naked choke with the spinning kick. They were expecting that. They were hoping her to throw the spinning kick, and they were ready to take the back on that and then submit her. So that shame, that big loss she had against Tatiana changed her whole career, and she became like really technical. She started stunning a lot her opponents, and this is the case because if you watch the first fight, I mean, was the first time Alexa fought in a southpaw stance, because they knew that Valentina wasn't expecting that. Normally southpaws are not comfortable when they're fighting other southpaws, so they went into the first round fighting southpaw. They made Valentina adjust to those double legs because we don't normally see Valentina throwing those double legs. She goes for the Greco-Roman or the judo takedowns. She was doing she had to adjust to the double legs. So now Alexa says, we're ready for the double legs. We're not going to the ground. And as she was saying the other day in the Q&A, like, yeah, she's a 17-time Muay Thai champion, but she wasn't standing with me. She didn't want to stand with me. So they are confident that if they kind of avoid those takedowns, they can win the fight with the striking.
Gil, last thing on the main event, can you please take me into the mindset of Valentina Shevchenko? As I mentioned, she goes from being absolutely dominant to then close fight with Talia Santos. Some people thought she lost it, and then she does lose this one. Now she's coming back against a woman who defeated her, the only person who's defeated her in the UFC other than Amanda Nunes. What is going through the mind of Valentina Shevchenko?
Everyone's journey is different, but the way Valentina carries herself, she gets motivation from this. She has her fatigues on, her army clothes on. I mean, she is ready for war. She loves fighting more than most fighters I know. She eats, loves, and breathes this. So I think her mentality is great. What I don't like about it is she thinks she just made one mistake, right? I only made one mistake. There's nothing I have to change. for myself, there was a lot of things that went well for Alexa Grasso that she has to work on, and I talked about those earlier. But I think in her mindset, she's confident, she believes in herself, and she does believe she was winning that fight up to that point. And I do agree with her, she was winning, but she had a lot to learn from that. But I think she's a champion. She loves this stuff. I think her mindset is in a great place.
Well, it's going to be a theme all night, Mexico versus the world. So I want to ask you guys about two other very prominent Mexican fighters on the card. Carlos, I'll have you speak about Tracy Cortez, who comes back from a long layoff, and then your boy Raul Rosas Jr., who I believe you've known pretty for a long time. You want to talk about your history with him, and then what are you going to be looking for in this fight?
Well, I've known the Rosa brothers, right? The Rosa brothers. There's two of them actually, and they started their career with Gracie Fighter, with Dave Terrell, North Cal Fighting Alliance in Santa Rosa out there. So that's where he started and everything. But seeing this young phenom at 17 years old, who's been training since I don't know how young, maybe 11. I seen him at my gym cruising around like at 14, 15, stopping by, knowing that's the future, and just seeing the next generation. Like, my goodness, they have wrestling at a young age, they have striking at a good age, and at 17-year-olds, he's the first ever so young to be in there. I think his biggest weakness is that he's young and hasn't developed yet.
Yeah.
He's 18 years old. When he's 25, he's going to be way more muscular. He's going to be way more durable. And I think he learned a lot in his first fight and his first loss, meaning that his offense, his defense was nonstop offense, right? Nonstop offense. But I think every fighter goes through that. A young fighter, hey, I'm all offense. Now he's going to have to use active rest, right? Like, move around a little bit in the cage, get some feints, and then go to his nonstop wrestling and his nonstop strike, his nonstop pressure. I think his grappling is phenomenal. I think he's going to show that in this fight. I believe his striking is going to improve. And as soon as he settles in a little bit more using those active rests and he puts on more muscle, this kid's going to be a champ. Mexico has a bright future when you have youngsters like that.
I agree. And then how about Tracy Cortez? A lot of positive words there for Rosas Jr., obviously. Long comeback for Tracy Cortez.
Yeah, and she's been struggling with. She has been vocal in her social media. She was struggling with mental health issues, and obviously she's having a lot of personal stuff happening. But coming back on a card like this, having all the support from the Mexicans. I remember when she walked out to Salina in Arizona, having all the support from the local fans. You can feel the energy for her. So maybe people are forgetting that she's 10-1 and she's undefeated in the UFC. She's a really good wrestler. I mean, Jasmine is having big fights recently, but I know she has a fight now. But Tracy, she can neutralize her. I think this is a very good night for her, to come back to get another win, and probably, I mean, with the support of the crowd, have a good performance.
Well, it's a very fun premise for a card. It's been a fun week. We will see Noche UFC is what they're calling it, and make no mistake, the main event is the biggest one. Valentina Shevchenko trying to come back, beat the only woman who's defeated her since Amanda Nunes in 2017. Going to be a fun card. We will be here at ESPN MMA to talk about it all post-fight. Until then, adios.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.